Hey, what's famous girl Bella, welcome back to my channel. Let's cut straight to the chase because you clicked on this video for a reason. Chances are you're trying to take control over your finances. Your finances have been getting a little bit out of whack. Maybe you're trying to save money, pay off debt, I don't know. But you clicked on this video for a reason. And I'm going to share with you 10 tips on how you can have the best no spend year or no spend month or no spend week, whatever you're trying to do. This is catered a bit more towards a no spend year, but you can apply these tips to a no spend month or no spend week as well. So the very first way that you're gonna have the best no spend year ever is by setting goals. Why are you doing a no spend year or no spend month or no spend whatever? Like, what are your goals? Is your goal to have an emergency savings? Is it to pay off certain debt? Why are you pursuing this challenge? For me, my goal is to save $10,000 this year, and you all are on that journey with me. I'll give you all monthly updates on how that's going. So that's why I'm personally doing a no spend year, because I want to save $10,000. And I'm also getting married next year / this year. Yikes. And I'm going back to school. Like, my expenses are about to go up a little bit. So I really just want to cut back as much as I can and still save some extra money. So what is your why? What is your reason for doing this no spend challenge? You will need to remember this because there are going to be times when you are going to be tempted to spend money that you have committed to not spend. So always remember your why, and it has to be a good enough reason for you to cut back on frivolous spending. Because chances are, if you're watching this, you have enough stuff. You don't need anything. I think if you had a lack, you wouldn't be watching this video. So if you have enough stuff, you don't need to buy more stuff, okay? Okay. Another question to ask yourself is, how will you measure success? What does that look like for you? Does success look like a certain amount of money saved each month or each week? Does it look like habits being broken, such as no more impulsive shopping or not buying Uber Eats every single weekend? Like, how can you measure that you're actually moving towards your goal? For me, it's going to be based off of how much money I save, which is why I'm going to take you all with me each month and tell you how much money I saved each month. And for me, each month is going to look different because my expenses are going to be different each month. Like, I know for the month of January, I'm probably not going to save that much money because I'm moving, and moving costs a lot of money. But how are you going to track your success? Let's get into the meat and potatoes. We need to define our fixed expenses versus our variable expenses. If you don't know what these are, your fixed expenses are expenses that stay the same every single month. So that can be your rent, your utilities, your car note, things like that that don't change, and that no matter what you need to pay every single month are your fixed expenses. Your variable expenses can vary each month and they can change. So they can be things that are like more important variable expenses, such as, groceries, or more frivolous things such as shopping, I want you to identify all your fixed expenses because those are things that no matter what, you need to pay off every single month on time to avoid getting in any sort of credit trouble, right? Then I want you to figure out, what are my variable expenses? First, figure out what are your variable expenses that you can cut back on. So for example, groceries, you can probably cut back in some areas if you are able to, like, maybe not always shop at Sprouts for every single thing or Whole Foods for every single thing. Like, maybe you'll have to go to different grocery stores and get different things depending on who sells what for a better price, while still, of course, getting good quality groceries. Then you have other variable expenses such as coffee runs, takeout, just shopping that you might need to eliminate all the way, especially if you're gonna do a no spend month. For me, I am eliminating a lot of stuff out of my budget for the year. I posted my no spend challenge rules and what I'm not gonna be spending money on in 2025 if you wanna watch that after this. But I'm not spending money on takeout. I'm not spending money on coffee unless it's like coffee that I am making at home. And I'm also not spending money on shopping, period, unless it's like wedding related. So those are things that I'm just not spending money on for the year. And another thing that's going to be a theme throughout this is just having grace with yourself. So I just told you areas that I'm not going to spend money on, but I also told you exceptions. Like, I told you I'm not going to spend money on shopping, but if it's related to the wedding, I will, because I'm only getting married once, babe. Okay? So have some grace with yourself. Know where you should have a little bit of wiggle room, but don't have so much wiggle room and so much grace and be like, to the point that you are spending more money and you're supposed to be not spending money. You're supposed to be saving money, cutting back. Let's talk about preparing your budget. I can go into more detail on this in another video. And I feel like I'm crooked, aren't I? The first thing I want you to do is review your current budget versus your old one. So if you are someone who budgets regularly, this will be pretty easy. You can just look at previous budgets and see how much you allotted for different expenses versus how much you actually spent, and same with your savings and all that. If you haven't tracked your budget before, you can look at receipts. If you keep your receipts, you can look at your credit card statements or your debit card statement. Do debit cards give statements? You can look at your credit card statements or just like your banking app to see what you've spent money on. After you have an idea of how much money you spend in these different categories, I want you to go ahead and budget every single dollar that you earn. So I like to use an app called Every Dollar. I use the free version personally. You can use a paid version. I think the paid version just links to your cards. Maybe it automatically inputs what you spent, but I use the free version and I just manually put in every single expense. Like I put in every single expense. And so every single month I will like create a budget, but sometimes I might go over in one category and be under another category just because life happens. But I want you to create a budget. Another thing you can do is you can also get like a budget Excel sheet. That's also very helpful. But I like to personally put it in every dollar so I can literally see where every single dollar is going. And then I'll usually transfer it to an Excel sheet at the end of the month, which I can show you all that in a video in the future. I want you to set specific savings targets and pay yourself first. So every single month, you're going to budget your expenses. You're going to see how much money you have allotted to these different categories. The most important categories are those fixed expenses that stay the same every single month and that you actually have to pay off. Those are the most important ones. After that, I want you to go ahead and budget out the different variable expenses and also budget out how much you want to save each month. So for me personally, I save first. I pay myself first. So I go ahead and say like, okay, this month I want to save $500. So once I get paid, I will go ahead and put off the money for my fixed expenses that I absolutely have to pay. And then I'll go ahead and put 500 straight in my savings. That way I know I've already hit my savings goal. And if I have extra money, extra income, or leftover income when the month ends, I can also throw that in my savings. But I know personally that if I spend in all my little variable areas and then try to save after, I'm not going to hit my savings goal. So I pay myself first. If you're someone who uses a credit card, this will be a bit easier for you to do because you can pay yourself the savings first and discharge other things to your credit card. That's what I do personally. And I still pay my credit card off each month on time. But if you have like a debit card or you're paying with cash, you can still do this, but you might have to have a little bit more finesse with like your different paychecks if you're not using a credit card. But that's what I would personally recommend. So that way you're always hitting your savings goal every single month and also paying your necessary expenses each month. Finally, for this, I want you to review your budget on a weekly or monthly basis. Again, this depends on what kind of challenge you're doing. If you're doing a no spend year, you can review it on a monthly basis or even bi-weekly. If you're doing a no spend month, you should probably review it on a weekly basis. But review your budget. That way you can see like where are you going over, where are you doing well at. For me, for example, I'm planning my best friend's bachelorette party. By the time I post this, hopefully it's already happened, so I won't be spoiling anything. Without going into any detail, in case she is watching this and her bachelorette hasn't happened yet, I ordered some stuff off of a certain website. It didn't deliver on time. I had to order from a different website, and the other website charges more for the items. So for the bachelorette party, I'm going over because I had to reorder certain things. So that's an example of like life happens and you may go over your budget, but you know, like what can you do? Some stuff like it just happens, but review your budget regularly. That way you know what's going on. And also just review your credit cards and your cards regularly because, you know, there's a lot of like scammers, lots of 419 going on. So you don't want to find a random charge on your credit card. Like make sure you know like where your money's going and how you're doing. The next thing I'm so excited about to actually do this year, and it is planning free activities. So you don't want to feel deprived while you're doing your no spend challenge or feel like you can't do anything. So you need to figure out ways to still have fun while not spending money or spending like very, very minimal amounts of money. So some free or very low cost things you can do are go hiking, go on walks, read books from the library or from your personal collection, do different like DIY projects, get into low cost hobbies like maybe crocheting, which crocheting or sewing like upfront, you may have to pay some money, but as time goes on, it's not too expensive of a hobby. Or you could do like intramural sports or recreational sports. There might be like a little monthly or yearly fee, but in the long run, it's probably not too expensive and it's like a low cost hobby. Or like I said, things like reading or hiking are literally free. You can do this for free. Another one I'm so excited to do is potlucks. Again, you'll have to spend a little bit of money if you do a potluck because you have to make and buy the food. But if you do like a potluck with your friends and you all like come together and bring different foods, and you always like eat together, have fun, and then you also have like leftover food to take home with you. So that's a whole nother meal you also have now. And I feel like that's such a fun idea because first of all, they're your friends, so you can trust that the food is clean. And also, if you're trying to cut back on eating out, then potlucks will really, really help you because I know for me, eating out is more of like a social activity sometimes, right? Like it's just a way to like get together and talk and converse and da 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 da. But you can still talk and converse while like having a potluck. Additionally, there are so many free local resources available to you, like you may not even know. The library offers so many free local resources. Like they have an event that's like a sewing 101 class, and I'm getting into sewing. I actually have a sewing machine. This is a tangent, but I have a sewing machine that my dad bought me when I was in middle school. I used it for like a couple months. I gave up on it, and now I'm getting back into it. And they actually have a sewing 101 class that's free. Just bring your own sewing machine, and they will provide you with the fabrics, the string, everything. But I can't go because I'll be at work. That's an example of a free activity at the library. Tomorrow they're doing a paint, sip, and listen, and it's literally going to be like you get to paint, sip hot chocolate, and then listen to audiobooks. So cute. Apartments also tend to have lots of free activities if you're in an apartment complex. My apartment always has free activities. Like the other day they had popcorn and a hot chocolate bar. They usually have like wine down Wednesdays where they have a chef doing like wine tastings for people. They have workout classes. They have things with food trucks, and sometimes the food trucks are free for the first like 25 people. Apartments tend to have a lot of free events as well, and it's also a good way to meet like your neighbors if you're in an apartment. And then meetup.com or Eventbrite, because Eventbrite also has free events sometimes, are great ways to find free things. Like I go on meetup.com and I go to lots of like free UX things, like lots of free UX networking events or like clubs where you can meet other people in the industry. Of course, you can do it for more casual stuff like book clubs or running clubs or different things like that. Like there's honestly a lot of free stuff that's available to you if you just, it's a blank. There's a lot of free stuff available to you if you just look for it. So you can still have fun without spending a lot of money or any money at all, honestly. Let's talk about how you're going to meal plan and buy groceries efficiently. I want you to plan your grocery shopping, okay? Earlier I talked about how your groceries don't have to all come from one store. You don't have to buy all your groceries at Sprouts or Harris Teeter, and then once you buy your groceries, you just spend $300 for one person for food that's gonna last you 2 weeks. Like you don't have to do that. You can spread your groceries out. For me, I like to buy my produce at Aldi's. I just rediscovered how cheap Aldi's produce is, and it's like so fresh. I literally got strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, grapes, olives, dried apricots, and something else I cannot remember for $25. Oh, I also got cherry tomatoes and salad. 8 things for $25. Like, bro, what? I would have spent like $50 somewhere else. The grapes were $4. When I go to Harris Teeter, grapes are almost $10. Like, Aldi's lifesaver. There's another store called Lidl, which I haven't tried out yet, but I guess they also have very inexpensive groceries. I know Food Line has inexpensive groceries. I don't really shop there personally, but I know Food Line's another inexpensive grocery store. And then if you're gonna get like bulk items, I like to go to Sam's Club, or you could do Costco or Restaurant Depot, depending on where you have a membership at. But I like to go to Sam's Club to get bulk stuff like chicken or ground turkey. Like I like to go there for my meats, honestly, or just other bulk items like toilet paper or paper towels or lotion or soap, like stuff that I know no matter what I'm always gonna need. I like to do that shopping at grocery stores that offer bulk items because it saves me money in the long run. When you go grocery shopping, I want you to have a list before you go. I'm a list queen. What I like to do is as I'm just going about my day, I'm picking up stuff from the fridge, from the pantry. Once something runs out, I add it to my list. I have a running grocery list. So if I run out of milk today, I'll just go ahead and add milk to the list. That way I always know what's missing. And then of course, if you're cooking for a specific recipe, then, have a list for that as well. But having a list will help you when you grocery shop. That way you don't get off track. Don't be wandering in every single aisle. You're going to end up spending so much money. And also self-awareness is going to be key during this challenge. If you know you just tend to spend money at the grocery store, you might have to do order pickup, curbside pickup, okay? A little challenge you can do is you can try to create a meal with just what you have in the fridge. So going through your fridge, seeing what you have and making a meal out of that. You can even ask ChatGPT or like AI to give you like a meal based off of what you have, and you can tell it what you have. We kind of did something similar during Thanksgiving time Or was it Christmas time? I don't remember. I think it was Christmas. But we had turkey, and you know turkeys are the last thing to go. So my dad was talking to my mom, and he was like, why don't we put the turkey in the eggs and make like omelets for breakfast? And it was so good. Now I'm obsessed with turkey and omelets. So that's another thing you can do. This challenge will not be 100% easy. You will deal with temptation. And so the best thing to do is to just be ahead of it and have strategies for how you're going to avoid temptation. Some things you can do are unsubscribing from marketing emails. Hearing about every single sale is not going to make you feel good if you're trying to reduce your spending and you have a shopping problem. You can also delete shopping apps, or you could just turn off the notifications depending on how much restriction you need. I had to block my nail salon because I'm a regular there. They know my name, everything. I get punch cards, everything. They always are emailing me or texting me discounts, Mother's Day discount, Father's Day discount. I had to block them. I had to block them, and I had to give my cousin Chi Chi their number. That way, when I'm ready to get my nails in again, I can have their number. But I was like, bro, I have to block them because they talk to me, they contact me too much, and it's tempting for me. So I had to block my nail salon. Gotta do what you gotta do. There are also many alternative ways that you can still satisfy your cravings. So honestly, the whole theory of just like romanticizing your life is gonna really come into play during this time. So make every experience luxury, right? Like say you miss going to Starbucks or your local coffee shop and getting a coffee with that foam, that sweet vanilla cream, cold foam on top. I want you to go ahead and make yourself a coffee. Get a frother. You can get like the actual Nespresso Aeroccino frother, or you can get a literal handheld frother that costs $10. Froth up some heavy cream, add some sweetener to it, add it to your coffee, pour it over all slowly, watch it dissolve into the coffee. You can make your own coffee at home, I promise you. Have at-home spa days with like face mask, put cucumbers on your eyes, like do it all, do it all. Use an at-home steamer, like steam your face how you would do it if you're going to a spa. Like make those experiences very luxury for yourself, that way you don't feel like you're missing out. You can also do this stuff with a friend because that always makes everything more fun. Honestly, this entire challenge it kind of reminds me of like 75 hard, where like 75 hard is not, I haven't done 75 hard by the way, but it's not a workout challenge, it's a mental challenge. This is very similar. This is a challenge where like you're gonna save money, you're gonna pay off debt, you're gonna reach your goals if you do it correctly, but like more than anything, it's a very mental challenge. So just remember your why, remember why it is you're doing this challenge, and have gratitude. That will take you so far in this challenge. Just having gratitude, remembering what you already have. Chances are if you're watching this video, you have more than most people. Like you probably live a pretty good life. Like you have more than most people, you have more than enough. So just be creative with what you have, use what you have, and just be grateful. Number 7 is addressing potential exceptions. So as I mentioned, there are going to be exceptions and things that come up that you may have to spend money on. For me personally, that's going to be things that are wedding related. So I said I'm not spending money on getting my nails done, on buying any clothes, on like doing little hairstyles, unless it's wedding related, because I'm getting married this year, next year, I don't know. And my best friend's getting married this year. So like if my best friend's like, okay, I need you to have this specific hairstyle and French tip, I'm not about to be like, oh no, I can't get my hair done, I'm in a no spend challenge. Not for my best friend's wedding, I think not. So those are exceptions that I already know about, that I'm already aware of, that will come up. That way when it happens, I don't feel like guilty about spending money on something. I'm also doing my own hair this year, as you can tell by all my natural hairstyles in my last few videos, but I am making an exception for getting routine trims every 3 months, just because I had to deal with a lot of breakage last year, so I want to make sure my hair is like healthy and on point, and I don't trim my own hair. So for me personally, I'm gonna get my hair trimmed every 3 months. That's an exception that I made before I even started the challenge, and that will just make my life better, honestly. I also want you to have a little bit of a buffer in your budget every single month. So for example, I talked about every dollar and just allocating every single dollar to a home in your budget, but have a little bit of wiggle room as much as you can with the amount of money you make and the amount of expenses you have, whether that's $50 or $100 or whatever. It's good to have a little bit of wiggle room just because, like I said, life happens. For example, I'm moving this month. I'm moving actually in like 4 days, and some stuff is costing more money than I thought it would cost. So I have to have a little bit of wiggle room in my moving budget because some things may cost a little bit more than I expect. And what am I going to do? Not move? No. So have a little bit of wiggle room and just have some grace with yourself throughout this challenge, but not too much grace. Please. Another important thing is going to be figuring out how to involve your friends and family. So this challenge will be easier if you have someone to do it with. You know what I mean? Like everything's easier with an accountability partner or just someone who's sharing in the journey with you and that you can come to when you're feeling, a little bit stressed or anxious or whatever. And so for me, that's one of my brothers, Nemeka. He's doing this challenge with me. Of course, he has slightly different no spend categories than me. He's not worried about getting his nails done or not buying beauty products. He has different things that he's focused on, but we will chat every once in a while specifically about the no spend just to see how we're doing. If you don't have anyone to do the challenge with, you have me, okay? I'm doing this no spend challenge for all of 2025. And even if you watch this video in the future when I'm done with the challenge, there is going to be a whole playlist just dedicated to this challenge. So don't worry, you have me if you have no one else. You'll want to communicate your goals with your loved ones. Chances are if your loved ones really love you, they will be okay with you not spending so much money. They will really actually be okay with it. So certain things you may have to cut back on. For example, for me, that's gonna be a lot of traveling and buying gifts. So for traveling, there's been a couple trips I already know I'm not gonna take this year. There's some trips I already know I'm not going to take this year. Some of my family from Europe want to come and do an America tour, which they've been here before, but we're going to do a little tour. And I had to say no to that trip because, not just because of my no spend, also because it was going to be in April. That's when Lauren's getting married and I need to save PTO for my own wedding. So it was for other reasons as well, but that's a trip that I won't be able to go on. Or every other year, my family does a convention. This year's supposed to be in LA. Not too sure because those fires. If you're affected by those fires, by the way, you're in my prayers. But I'm most likely not going to go to that convention because I'm trying to save money. Any birthday trips, I love you. I'll send you a card in the mail. I got to save my money. Same goes for gifts because me and my friends, we be getting each other expensive freaking gifts. I love giving gifts and my friends love giving gifts. So you may have to tell your friends okay, this year we're going to have some homemade gifts, or you can still buy them gifts, but maybe there may have to be a bit of a budget on it, which is fine. They can also give you a little bit of a cheaper gift for your birthday too. Okay. But yeah, just communicate those things to your loved ones. They will most likely understand. And then I've already talked about some no-cost activities you can do with your friends and family, such as the potlucks or game nights or movie nights, just different ways you can get together and spend little to no money. Me and Amber are actually going to do a seafood boil night once I move. That's actually not very inexpensive. It's kind of an expensive thing to do together, but it's still a way that we can just bond and have fun without going out. And we're probably going to have more seafood than we would have had if we went to a seafood place. So we're going to do that and split the cost in half. Number 9 is all about your mindset and your motivation. I've said this a million times. This is a mental challenge. You're going to have to remember why you're doing this at all times, because that is going to keep you from, going off the deep end and spending $1,000 on Shein. Okay? Remember your why and have gratitude. And just remember all the things you have. Since I started this challenge, I've been in this challenge for about a month now because I started in December. I have figured out so many new ways to wear clothes. I have so much clothes and I'm always mixing and matching. I'm doing all these new hairstyles I never did before. I'm realizing I have so much stuff. I'm discovering beauty products that I own that I never really use. I'm oh, this is fun. This is nice. I don't like this. I'm actually going through my stuff and using it. How fun is that? So remember your why, have gratitude. I also want you to celebrate small wins along the way. So for me, I'm doing a no spend year. So maybe every single month I'll have a little celebratory thing to, be proud of myself. And I don't want a celebratory thing that's going to cost me money. I want a free way to celebrate. So that could be something like journaling or reflecting on the challenge. I hate that I yap so much because my camera just said stop talking. But this could be journaling or reflecting. If you are a journaler, that would be great. I personally am going to probably have a whole day when I just read books. Guilty pleasure, I get to read all day long and not focus on anything else after a successful no spend month. That's probably going to be what it is for me. Or you can literally have a whole day where you just watch TV. Watch TV without any guilt for a whole day because you successfully just did a whole no spend month. And just have those little rewards ready and available so that you have something to look forward to. And also just reflect on how these no spend months are going to align with your long-term goals, whether that is saving for a wedding, emergency savings, paying off debt. Just remember how this is going to really push you forward towards the long-term goals that you have set out. There's a famous saying by someone that's saying yes to one thing is saying no to something else because you can't say yes to everything. And the same goes with your money. Like, money you spend in one area is money that you're not going to have for another area. So if I'm trying to save for a wedding, right? And I decide I'm going to go buy a bunch of shoes, now I have less money for my wedding. Or if you want to save to pay off debt and you decide you're going to, I don't even know, buy a bunch of shoes. You're going to have more debt and more interest accumulating on top of that. So just remember that saying yes to one thing is saying no to another thing. And just keep that in mind. And just remember your why as to why you're doing this. It will really, really help you. And the very last thing is just always think about the benefits you're looking forward to. Ties into my previous point, honestly. Think about those financial benefits, more savings, less debt, emotional and mental benefits such as more gratitude and reduced stress, because if you are an impulse shopper, you probably do deal with some stress and also some guilt after buying those frivolous items that you didn't really need, but in that moment made you feel better. So you're going to also feel better mentally and emotionally, honestly. And then just think about how it's really just going to help you in the long run. Get obsessed with saving money and just seeing your account grow. Like, have that be your new thing. I have a couple friends and some family members who are like obsessed with saving money. Mr. and Mrs. Krabs, to be honest, like they love to save money. And honestly, when I see my bank account grow, it makes me feel very, very happy, and it makes me want to spend even less money on frivolous things. Not to say I won't spend money on anything. Like, I'm a human being. This is life. I have to spend money, but it'll just help you to be a bit wiser about what you choose to spend money on. All right, so that is my whole video for you all today. I hope these 10 tips help you during your no spend challenge. Like I said, stay tuned with me. I will be giving you all updates on how the challenge is going, monthly reflections, more tips and tricks on how we are going to get through this together, because you are not alone. My social media links are down below. As always, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.